देखे गौरार संपादा कि बजायो जायो गौरा चांदे आरती के शोभा नाविताटा बाने जगा मन लोभा गौरांगेरारतिक शोभा जगा जन मन लोभा गौरांगेरारतिक शोभा जगा जन मन लोभा गौरांगेरारतिक शोभा जगा जन मन लोभा निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hariharaya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah. Hariharaya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah. Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namah. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhatt Raghunatha. Sri Ji Shiva Gopal Bhatt Das Raghunatha Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathgami Nayana Pathgami Bhava Tume Jaya Sachinandan Gaur Hari Jaya Sachinandan Gaur Hari Gaura Gaura Gaur Hari Gaura Gaura Gaur Hari Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai 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 Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Bolo Gaur Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Syama Sundar Radha Syama Sundar Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Pancha Tattva Jaya Pancha Tattva Jaya Pancha Tattva Jaya Pancha Tattva Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavarikacharya Asatora Satashi Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavarikacharya Asatora Satashi Shrimad Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasi Go Bhaktivinda Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveda Bhaktivinda Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Vrindavan Dhami Ki Mayapur Dhami Ki Jagannath Puri Ki Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Harinam Sankirtan ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Nara Shingaya. Namaste Nara Shingaya. Namaste Shingaya. Pralada Lada Dahine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Shila Chankana Kalayet. Hito na shingo parato na shingo. Yato yato yami tato na shingo. Baye na shingo, idaye na shingo. Haye na shingo, na shingo. Narashinga madim sharanam prapade. Tavakara kamala bare nakam advuta shingam dalita hiranyakashipu danabringam keshavadrita narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare avatara kamala bare nakam advuta shingam dalita hiranyakashipu Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamala Bare Nakam Advuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danubringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Hare Nakam Advuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare
Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadish. Keshavadita Nara Hari Rupa, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Nara Hari Rupa, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya Nrsingadev. Jaya Prasad Maharaj, Jaya Prasad Maharaj, Jaya Prasad Maharaj, Jaya Prasad Maharaj. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Keep on, keep on. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Radha, Sham Sundar Radha, Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Vigna Vinash Nishikadev Bhagwan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. So we request devotees to move a little bit closer. You can keep still some distance among yourself, but closer. So you can connect with the speaker. So I want to introduce the speaker. You all know our dear Amartananda Prabhu. He's been serving ISKCON of Central New Jersey for last 23, 24 years in many different roles. And we're blessed to have him amongst us to speak from Bhagavad Gita. So we request devotees, if you have children, you can sit in the back. We don't have Sunday school program in the community hall yet. In next month or two, hopefully we can engage with our children also. But if you can all pay, please, bit silence and be quiet and be connected. Have your full attention here, give respect to the speaker, so speaker can also respect your presence. That will be so nice. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Devakinandan Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody, for taking your time and joining today's program. We'll start with a little bhajan. Most of you would know it. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. This is how Prabhupada would start the evening Bhagavad Gita. And in his footsteps, following the tradition, we'll do it. So you'll play the Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So, my dear friend Madhupati Prabhu, I don't think he's here today. Some of you who know Madhupati Prabhu, there are some new faces I see here, so welcome very much, all Prabhus, Mataji's, little children. And there are some senior devotees, Ushra Prabhu, my obeisances to all of you. So Madhupati Prabhu asked me to speak for today's Sunday class. And what I'm going to talk, if some of you who joined the daily, weekly Bhagavad Gita class that Simeshwar Prabhu does in the evenings on Zoom program, this is 9.26. We had spoken about this almost a month ago, January 25th. And my method of presentation, I like to make it interactive. So there's a PowerPoint slide. So if you see on the screen to your right, on that side, maybe a little clearer, but anyway, we'll try to make do the best of it. So the theme of 9.26 is all about the process of offering Boga and eating prasadam. It's one of the very fundamental things that a human entity does, or any living entity, in fact, eating, correct? So this whole paradigm of offering Boga and eating, why do we do it? So that's what we're going to study today. And of course, we leave some time. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. There is no question. Sometimes in an audience, we feel a little shy, but there is no question. You may be thinking, oh, I'm asking the right question. You know, will someone think I'm silly? Or it's such a simple question and an obvious question. There's no question that is silly. The only silly question is the one that is not asked. Srila Prabhupada is the person, he said that questions are a symptom of intelligence. And when questions are asked, it is not just for the benefit of the person who is asking, but the speaker, the listener, as well as the entire audience benefits from it. And that's where the Krishna Katha gets to be understood a little more clearer, a little better. So it's chapter 9, text 26. If there is someone who could distribute Bhagavad Gitas, and we can also, I'll bring this up on the Veda base, but if there are a couple of copies here, you could distribute to devotees, you could open to chapter 9, text 26, and perhaps some new person can get the opportunity to hold someone coming for the first time. So you can read there. I don't know if it's very clear. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati taddaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Patram pushpam phalam toyam Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Tad aham bhakti upaharitam. Ashnami prayatatmanaha. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Tadaham bhakti upaharitam. Ashnami prayatatmanaha. Would some Prabhuji like to chant the verse, please?
Patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Me bhaktya prayachati.
Yo me bhaktya prayachati.
Tadaham bhakti papratam.
Tadaham bhakti upaharitam.
Ashnami prayatatmanaha.
Ashnami prayatatmanaha. Any Mataji, please? Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Tad aham bhakti upaharitam. Ashnami prayatatmanaha. Anybody else? Okay, so let's read the synonyms. Patram, a leaf. Pushpam, a flower. Phalam, a fruit. Toyam, water. Yaha, whoever. May, unto me. Bhaktya, with devotion. Prayachati, offers. Tat, that. Aham, I. Bhakti upaharitam, offered in devotion. Ashnami, accept. Prayatat manaha, from one in pure consciousness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit or water, I will accept it. Purport. For the intelligent person, it is essential to be in Krishna consciousness, engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord in order to achieve a permanent, blissful abode for eternal happiness. The process of achieving such a marvelous result is very easy and can be attempted even by the poorest of the poor without any kind of qualification. The only qualification required in this connection is to be a pure devotee of the Lord. It does not matter what one is or where one is situated. The process is so easy that even a leaf or a little water or fruit can be offered to the Supreme Lord in genuine love, and the Lord will be pleased to accept it. No one, therefore, can be barred from Krishna consciousness because it is so easy and universal. I'll read this sentence again. No one, therefore, can be barred from Krishna consciousness because it is so easy and universal. Who is such a fool that he does not want to be Krishna conscious by the simple method and thus attain the highest perfectional life of eternity, bliss, and knowledge? Krishna wants only loving service and nothing more. Krishna accepts even a little flower from his pure devotee. He does not want any kind of offering from a non-devotee. He is not in need of anything from anyone because he is self-sufficient, and yet he accepts the offering of his devotee in an exchange of love and affection. To develop Krishna consciousness is the highest perfection of life. Bhakti is mentioned twice in this verse in order to declare more emphatically that bhakti or devotional service is the only means to approach Krishna. No other condition, such as becoming a Brahmana, a learned scholar, or a very rich man, or a great philosopher, can induce Krishna to accept some offering. Without the basic principle of bhakti, nothing can induce the Lord to agree to accept anything from anyone. Bhakti is never causal. The process is eternal. It is the direct action in service to the absolute whole. Here, Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord, and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals what type of sacrifices he desires to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to the Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then one should find out what the Lord desires of him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked. Thus, meat, fish, and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offerings, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flowers, and water be given to him. And he says of this offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish, and eggs. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk, and water are the proper foods for human beings and are prescribed by the Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him, since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on the level of loving devotion if we offer such foods. In the 3rd chapter, verse 16, Shri Krishna explains that only the remains of sacrifice are purified and fit for consumption by those who are seeking advancement in life and release from the clutches of material entanglement. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are eating only sin. Very powerful. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are eating only sin. In other words, their every mouthful is simply deepening their involvement in the complexities of material nature. But preparing nice, simple vegetable dishes, offering them before a picture or deity of Lord Krishna, and bowing down and praying for him to accept such a humble offering, enable one to advance steadily in life, to purify the body, to create fine brain tissues that will lead to clear thinking. Above all, the offering should be made with an attitude of love. Krishna has no need for food, since he already possesses everything that be. Yet he will accept the offering of one who desires to please him in that way. The important element in preparation, in serving, and in offering is to act with love for Krishna. The impersonalist philosophers who wish to maintain that the absolute truth is without senses cannot comprehend this verse of Bhagavad Gita. To them, it is either a metaphor or proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, has senses, and it is stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of any other. This is what it means to say that Krishna is absolute. Lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in all opulences. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into material nature. This is done by his looking upon the material nature. And so, in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotee's words of love in offering foodstuff is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized because of his absolute position. His hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that the supreme absolute truth can eat food and enjoy it. Hare Krishna. We'll say the Mangalacharam prayers, seeking the blessings of the Guru Parampara, the Sampradaya. And my prayer is that whatever I speak today, whatever I share realizations with you, is whatever I've heard from the Acharyas and the Vaishnava. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manokishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Kuru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Kuru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahadana Gunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishna Bhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Kauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatate Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the learning focus, we're going to understand the scriptural, the scientific, and the economic basis of a clean dietary lifestyle. That's the theme of today's pravachan. We'll talk about the Boga and Prasadam equation, how it works, what it is, and why it is necessary. And then we'll have question answers, group discussions. I encourage you all, please do ask questions. There are many learned Vaishnavas here. If I have an answer, I'll be able to provide it. But we have the most senior most Vaishnav in our assembly, Bushara Prabhu. May our obeisance to you. Before the class began, we were discussing and he gave me such nice realizations, which I will share with you as the course of the class goes on. Okay, so I'd like to give credit to one of my Shiksha Guru, His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj, who's responsible for bringing me and my family into the Hare Krishna movement. And when we were new, we used to ask him so many questions about everything. You know, if you're not the body, you're the soul, then why go to a dentist when you have a toothache? You know, something as mundane as that, to even something very deeply philosophical. And he said, you know, just start simply by whatever you're eating, you just offer it. Start by offering whatever you eat. So since today's topic is related to eating, whatever instructions that we have tried to follow, Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj instructions, and how that has helped develop our Krishna consciousness. So His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj ki jai. So if you can see the screen over there, a clean dietary lifestyle. First, let's examine what simple truths are. Everyone knows what a truth is, right? Truth has many different names also, like fact, truth. Yeah, this is the truth. So what is a truth, right? So let's understand the fact. When you get a fact, there is a choice, and then the choice that we make, what result it has. So the fact is, to live, life forms depend on other life forms. It is natural that every life form depends on another life form to survive, right? We human beings are meant to eat plant. We are herbivores. Plant is also a life form. Similarly, a tiger is a carnivore, and he, to survive, lives on deer, cattle, whatever. That is also a life form. So it is a fact that to live, life forms depend on other life forms. Then the choice. Do we eat to live and thrive, or do we live to eat and die? Khate raho, whatever is there, and then die. What is the purpose of eating? Is it just for this body to become tandurust, to become strong? That's really not much that we've accomplished. What is the result when we make this choice to live and thrive or eat to live and die? The result is either way, we are what we eat, and it is a fact. Eating not only affects the physiognomy, it also affects the psychology. It's a fact. Try it out. You eat something spicy, really, really spicy. See how it hurts your body. Your stomach, your internals, everything gets. You eat a lot of fatty food, greasy stuff. It makes you lethargic. And when this happens over a period of time, not just 1 or 2 meals, it happens habitually. We become who we are with what we eat. So what we put in here not only is affecting our body, it is affecting our thinking, our consciousness. Okay? So now we know that there are diet styles. Every one of us knows this. There is a herbivore. Herbivores are plant-eating entities like goat, cow, sheep, correct? They're called herbivores, that which eats plant, typically the bovines. Then you have carnivore. Carnivores are flesh-eating animals. The canine, they'll have these long teeth, the canine teeth. That's why they're called the canine. Then you have the omnivores. Omnivores eat plant as well as flesh, something like a simian, the certain breed of monkeys, gorillas, they eat both. And then finally is where the Homo sapien, us, fit in. We fit into a diet style called gluttony. Gluttony is unregulated. Khate raho, as I mentioned earlier. I like something, I'll keep eating it. If I'm diabetic, I like mithai, I'll keep eating mithai. I know, my intelligence tells me that sweet is not good for you. Your sugar level will get affected. You know, it will spoil your entire system. But I'll keep eating. Why? Unregulated. And it's only a human being who will do that. If you see an animal in its natural state, he will eat how much he needs and he won't go more than what is required. So these are the different lifestyles that we have, and then it has an effect. What is the effect? Now, our Shastras, the scriptures tell us that every one of us is governed by 3 modes. They are the primary controlling factor of our thinking and our behavior. So we will either act in the mode of goodness, or we act in a mode of passion, or we'll act in a mode of ignorance. So depending on the type of food that we eat, one or more of these modes gets to be prominent. So if you eat food in the mode of goodness, then our psychology gets to be in the mode of goodness. If you eat something which is in the mode of ignorance, now ignorance we typically think is someone who is uneducated, who's illiterate. No, that's not the definition of ignorance. Ignorance is if we don't really understand what our purpose of life is. So we could be rocket scientists, we could be PhDs in a material sense, but in a spiritual sense, we are just zero. If we don't know what the real purpose of life is. So there are so many young people over here. There may be some kids who are starting college. There's a lot of confusion. What should I do in life? Our entire education system, if you look at it, our education system teaches us not how to be happy, that's who we are, but it teaches us how to be wealthy. Oh, you become an engineer. Oh, you become a doctor. Oh, you become this, you do that. All these things. It's simply so that we could earn some money, and we think money helps us buy things, and things make us happy. So when I came to this country the first time many years ago, I bought a second-hand Honda Civic. I was so happy. Honda Civic. You know, typical of the immigrant who comes here, take pictures and send it to your friend and school and family and everyone posing outside with it. I don't know, many of us must have done that. A second-hand Honda Civic with 105 or 6,000 miles, but it was the pride of mine. And then within 1 year, I said, "Nahi yaar, now you need something new." Okay, so went and got a brand new Honda Accord. And then after some time, within another year, now this is not enough. Our family grew. We had our daughter. Oh, now we should have minivan. So now you get minivan. So this thing doesn't end. Things don't make you happy. Things don't give you satisfaction, and you'll always see. That's why they say it is a rat race. And we run after money. Money is important. Don't think money is not important. But in economics, they say money is the universal dissatisfier. Why is it a universal dissatisfier? Not having money is a very sorry state of affairs. Your basic needs you won't be able to fulfill. But having enough money won't guarantee you happiness. In fact, the largest amount of depression and suicides is amongst the wealthy people. So coming back over here is whatever food that we eat affects our mood. So ignorance is basically when we don't understand what our purpose in life is. So someone may come and tell you, Prabhu, you're not the body, you're the soul. You say, what nonsense? Because my ignorance is so deep set. But once we start eating food, which is at least in the mode of goodness, then automatically, as Prabhupada has said, in that it literally creates fine brain tissues. Higher than vegetarian food is another type of food called prasadam. Same, identical. You could make palak paneer. Palak paneer which is not offered and palak paneer which is offered. Exact same ingredients. What is the difference? So that's what we'll cover. What do the scriptures say? So first let's understand what are scriptures. Okay, scriptures, are they a reality or mythology? Now mythology, you heard this word mythology, and it has been drilled, especially people coming from the Indian subcontinent. The Britishers ruled us. They drilled into India. India as a land, it's almost like a country. Every village is a country of its own. Language is different, customs are different, cuisines are different. There's so many varieties. You just look at a simple potato. The way a Gujarati cooks potato and the way a Bengali cooks potato, completely different. A South Indian, how we'll cook potato, and a North Indian, how we'll cook potato. And in between all that, there are so many varieties, literally. It's like different countries in one big landmass over here. And the British had this policy of divide and rule. And the only thing which was unifying across was the culture and tradition, what we call Hinduism. Actually, there's no word called Hinduism, the entire Vedas or whatever scriptures. So they said, this is all mythology. And it was ingrained. So much so that we ourselves started believing these are just fairy tales. How can Hanuman fly in the air carrying a mountain? Have you ever seen anybody do such a thing like that? But if you actually look at it, if you go to Old Testament, if you go in the Bible, there are very similar pastimes. You have donkeys that talk, you have snakes that talk. Have you seen a donkey talk? How come over there it is not a mythology, and how come over here it is mythology? And sadly, a lie which is repeated often enough becomes truth. That's what they call propaganda. And we ourselves subscribe to that propaganda, forgetting what our culture and tradition is. So is scripture, Shastra, a reality or mythology? If you understand is what is truth, it's all of us have an understanding which is relative. I'm sitting over here, I'm feeling slightly warm because I'm wearing a sweater underneath. Temperature is the same, I don't know what, 70 or 72. Someone who's just wearing a kurta, you may not feel all that warm. So for me, it is warm, for you, it is normal. But the temperature is 72. So this is relative. Our understanding, our entire lives is relative. So when whatever our relative perceptions that we have, you make it into zero, that becomes the absolute truth. What is the purpose of scriptures? Why are there these scriptures? The whole purpose of the scripture is information. My friend Krishnanam is standing behind over there. He made something which is a very important point. What is the point he made? Information without transformation is useless. Total useless. And you apply it even in your material sense. You could be the greatest engineer, but if there's no application of your knowledge, what great knowledge you have? What's the purpose of having that knowledge? So information, transformation. How does that transformation happen? There are two steps in between. From information, whatever knowledge you get, you put it into application. You apply whatever you've learned. And when you apply it, you actually get realization. So I can tell you today, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Krishna says, offer me a leaf, offer me a flower with love and devotion. That he says. So we'll have this knowledge and we'll be able to recite it. You repeat these words about 15 to 20 times, you'll memorize it, and by heart, you'll be able to say it. Even a parrot can be taught to say Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. That is knowledge. Knowledge can be forgotten. However, realizations you don't forget. Realizations is when you put it into practice. So when you actually do the process of offering bhoga to the deities, these are sakshat deities, we are sitting in front of them. They're not wood, they're not marble. They are themselves Krishna. There's Cham Sundarji, there's Gaur Nithai, there's Radharani, that is Radharani over there on the altar, that is Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, that's Baldev, that's Subhadra Maharani. They are not material. And just as we are sitting here taking their darshan, they are also looking at us. This is Sakshad, actual. But we don't have that realization. Why? Because we don't engage. We come here on Sunday, maybe on a festival, we take their darshan, it makes us feel nice. Out of respect, we bow down. But when we engage, Prabhuji was telling me when we were sitting over here, he's saying, everything is just love. Love, nothing more, love. There was a famous group, Beatles, if you remember, those who are my age and a little older. What did Beatles sing? All you need is love. That's all. My Guru Maharaj says there are only two things a living entity needs, to love and to be loved. And service is the medium through which love is expressed. Love is not something which is just mental and abstract. So when we are having a deity, to have an engagement with the deity, when you engage in some service, that's how love develops, and they no longer are metal. Till such time, they are just metal and stone. And okay, thik hai, my tradition, I come from a Hindu upbringing, so I have to bow down, which is good, not bad, but to take it to the next level. So information application brings realization, brings transformation. How do you understand it? So whatever is being spoken, how do we understand it? Number one, it requires faith. And number two, it requires a teacher, a bona fide teacher. These two, like, you know, on a railway track, there are two tracks. So you need both these, and that's how our spirituality develops, and it takes us to a point of perfection. What's the outcome? Outcome is it aligns the body, the mind, and the soul. We are the spirit soul. Sometime back, none of the kids are over here. We used to have Sunday school, and there was Aksh, Anuj, Rohil, Radhe. They were youngsters then. Aksh is now married and has a son. They're all youngsters, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then there's a genre of music called rap. You know, rap music, rap, R&B and all that. So we did one small little program, and you know how to convey this. You're not the body, you're the soul, aham brahmasmi. So we made one little, all these kids got together and we made one rap song. You're not the body, you're the soul, sing Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. You're not the body, you're the soul. And it was so cool. These kids got their guitars and, you know, they had their shades on, and how you see on MTV, all that stuff happening. So the point is that you're not the body, you're the soul, the spirit soul. The body will get deteriorated, the soul remains alive. So what happens is a body, the subtle body of the mind, intelligence, and ego, and the soul, everything comes in one line. And when that happens, it brings liberation. What is liberation? Liberation, we think, is, okay, after I die, I'll go to Vaikuntha, I'll go to heaven. And yes, there is a physical place called the spiritual world. We are in the material world. But liberation is also consciousness. So you could be sitting here and be fully liberated. That means whatever are the material conditions, the ups and downs, you'll be equipoised. So what does the spiritual injunctions, not just the Vedas and the Shastras of our tradition, what do different traditions talk about? Diet. Let's look at it. Islam. What does Islam say? Islam instructs kindness and compassion towards animals, as well as avoiding excesses. O sons of wisdom, do not turn your stomach into graveyards for animals. This is there in the Quran. Hadith Fayyad al-Qadir Shara al, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Don't turn your stomachs into graveyards for animals. This is what the Holy Quran says. Christianity instructs God gave man dominion, caretaking over all animals. However, it is misconstrued and said, because I have control over animals, I can eat it. Then with that same logic, you know, the head of the household, usually a father, he has control over all the other members of that family, should he start eating it? Why not? If that's the explanation of dominion. And to make it more convenient that, oh, animals don't. That's not how it works. What does, and here it is in Genesis, these are there from the scriptures itself. And God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them as food. Very good. Buddhism instructs principle of ahimsa, non-violence. To become vegetarian is to step in the stream which leads to nirvana. Let the disciples refrain from eating meat. The eating of meat extinguishes the seed of great kindness. Prabhuji was talking about love. Kindness is one of the expressions of love. All we need is love and to be loved. How much more can you love if there is no kindness in you? So Hinduism, and Hinduism, I put it in quote unquote, actually the word Hindu came from the Muslim Mughals and the invaders from the northwest days to come. There's the river Sindh. They didn't know how to pronounce sh, so it became ha. People on that side of river Sindh, they started calling as ha, Hindu. And that's how. And today, if you see in the modern contemporary time, oh, garva se kaho hum Hindu hai. And what happens is typically there is the butting of heads, Hindu Musalman. But actually, if you understand your own scripture, you understand the other person's scripture, you'll see more similarities than differences, and you'll be able to appreciate it. What does Hinduism say? He who cannot control the urges of the tongue, he who can control the urges of the tongue can control the urges of the belly, genitals, and the mind. So if you see the tongue, belly, and genitals all fall in a straight line. So if it starts with controlling your tongue, you control your tongue, you can control the belly. If you can control the belly, whatever are the urges of the genital, you can control it, and you can control the mind. Mind control, right? All of us, because mind is so chanchal. It's thinking on this thought, and suddenly it'll go somewhere else. So that's what Hinduism says. Here, this verse, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. What do Parsis say? Zoroastrians. It explicitly promotes vegetarianism. Be plant eaters, O you men, so that you may live long. Keep away from the bottle of cattle. What does Sikhism say? Guru Nanak, the official code of Sikh is conducts to prohibit eating of meat. Just as blood stains on cloth look ghastly, so if you eat blood, which is meat, how can your consciousness be clean? This is Guru Nanak Sahib. He had these dohas, 2 lines, which he used to, I forget what this is, but this is what it means. Blood stains on a cloth look so ugly. So if you eat blood, meat, how can your consciousness remain clean? So if you look at all the major faiths, what are they promoting? What are they instructing? Vegetarianism. And over here in Bhagavad Gita, it goes one step little higher. Vegetarianism is a mode of goodness. It takes it one step higher, is develop love. So the food that you're eating, just eat love. So typically our mind, body, and soul is not aligned. It is little out of sync. So the source from where everything is coming, we call him the Almighty, we call him God. His name is Krishna. Whatever bounty is coming, it just bounces off, if you see here. The mind and body is not aligned. However, when there's a paradigm shift where you start with vegetarian food, then you start with the process of Boga and Prasad offering, then it aligns everything. And how you do it? Start becoming by vegetarian. So if you eat meat, okay, you really don't need meat. You really don't need to eat meat. It's only a taste. It's only a taste of the tongue. There's enough variety and delicious. Even nutrients, people say, oh, I won't get my protein. That's a myth. There's enough. Soy has a lot of protein. You offer Boga. Boga makes it sin-free. Otherwise, we're verily eating sin. Does the food belong to you? You go to ShopRite and you buy an apple. You think I purchased the apple, it is my apple. But if you are the owner, proprietor means you have control. Can you tell the apple, do not rot? After 6 months, I'll come and eat you. You have no control over the apple. The apple will go its natural course. Where did that apple come from? The apple came from the apple tree. Where did that tree come from? So if you inquire like this, there is the source. Ishwar Paramakrishna Satchitananda Vigra. Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So that it's his. And he made it for us. And making a Boga offering is just accepting and acknowledging, thank you, an act of gratitude. Gratitude is also an expression of love. It becomes Prasad. Prasad literally means mercy. And that's how our body, mind, soul gets aligned. So there are two options that we have when it comes to eating. In the Sanatan Dharma, there is the concept of offering Boga. In Christianity, they say grace before eating food. Christians acknowledge that this bounty, we have received it from you, dear Lord. Thank you. Similarly, in Islam, they have the tradition of saying dua, like thank you. An attitude of gratitude negates karmic servitude. Otherwise, we're caught in the circle of birth and death. So what does karma do? Birth, old age, disease, death. So if you see carnivore and the science, we get into the science, carnivore and herbivore. A carnivore has wide jaw because he can grab the animal that he's going to eat. His saliva is acidic because it can break down the meat into its components. So the saliva is acidic. He has long, sharp claws and teeth so that they can tear into the fur and the flesh and eat whatever is there. And then it has a short digestive tract, the intestines and whatever there is. It's very short. Why? Because nature is beautiful. It has designed in such a way because meat decays at a very rapid pace. You take a piece of chicken and you take a piece of brinjal and keep it on your table counter. The meat will start decaying by evening, next day, third day, it will become totally putrid. Your brinjal will last for a longer time. So you see our human intestines or the intestine of a herbivore is very long. But what happens is when we eat meat, that meat right now is cooked and it has all the masala and all over here, it tastes well, but when it goes in, it starts decaying and it starts releasing all those toxins. And then those toxins start affecting our physiognomy as well as our psychology. Whereas the plant you eat and then it's flushed out. A tiger will eat, it's immediately flushed out after extracting that. This is what a carnivore is. Whereas a herbivore is exactly opposite, a narrow jaw, alkaline saliva because alkali helps in the digestion of all the plant stuff. Short nails, blunt teeth. Now you look at our physiognomy, how it is. It's exactly like that of herbivore. But we are out of balance when we're eating meat. Everyone is saying, oh, work-life balance, work-life balance. We should have work-life balance. That's a big new thing now, work-life balance. But what about your life balance with the simple thing that we're eating, right? Long digestive tracts. So just look at this. This is a lion's mouth. This is a child's mouth. What is the impact of diet on life, death, on happiness? Okay, our country, USA, look what's going on over here. Meat addiction is linked to obesity. We are amongst the fattest nations in the world. Dietary profile, 95% are meat-based. There is only 5% vegetarianism. Disease, 237 million of our brothers and sisters, Americans, are afflicted with serious illnesses. That's 72% of the population, and it's all because of this mouth. Death rate, unhealthy diet is the leading cause. 1 in 5 death is because of diet. Well-being, a vegetarian diet is physical and mental benefits, as we said, and it's most satisfying in terms of the happiness quotient. Now let's look at the economics of the diet. What does the World Economic Forum says? Vegetarianism is good for the economy. 55 billion in cost savings would be by having a vegetarian diet. A family of 4 would save about 3,000 USD in food. Meat diet doesn't kill just the animal, the environment. We are ruining the environment. You saw last week, it was so cold. Then suddenly it jumped up to 18% of the greenhouse gases come from the meat industry, 18%. Resources, 1 kilogram of beef is equivalent to 25 kilograms of grain, 15,000 liters of water. 30% of the earth is used for the cattle industry, the meat industry. The poor, there is no shortage of food. There's no shortage of food. It is the greed, human beings' greed, which creates this imbalance. So much so that when there's extra production, they put it into ships and take it into the sea and throw it rather than feed. There are 1 billion human beings in starvation. Do you know what is starvation? Starvation is when you don't have food. We skip a meal because, oh, I want to do diet. What about these diet fads which keep coming? Keto diet, this diet, that diet. Okay, intermittent fasting. These people have complete fasting. We do Ekadashi one-time fasting and you're waiting, oh, when is prana time? Yeah, I mean, it seems a little, but that is starvation. And it's not, we think starvation is happening in poor countries, in Africa. No, there are kids who are here in the US in starvation mode. 1 billion people in starvation mode. And the grains that are used for the livestock, if it's just diverted, additional 3.5 billion people could be fed. Think about it. So every time I'm eating meat, I'm depriving somebody else of food. And it just so happens that because that person is not as economically taken care of well-being as me, so yes, I've satisfied my belly, I've satisfied my taste, but look at the cost. It's not just the cost of the meat, whatever it may be. Look at the cost on the earth, look at the cost on the starvation of other people. Cruelty, there's a lot of cruelty when an animal is killed. It's self-explanatory. We don't see that because we are desensitized. It comes in your ShopRite or wherever in packaged product. But before it came as a packaged product, there was a lot of cruelty going on there. There was suffering. And that's what we are eating, that suffering. That's why it is sin. That karma comes to us. And it is killing us all. Because 80% of antibiotics are used by the meat industry, humans are becoming antibiotic resistance. Over 23,000 deaths each year is because of resistance bacteria. So see, this is how it's like a ripple, a stone in the water, and it goes ahead. Now, I'm not trying to force anyone to become a vegetarian. If you're a non-vegetarian, you know, it is your choice what you're doing. But as long as you are aware, most of us don't have this awareness. Look at this picture. Is it so sweet or is it tender meat? How do you decide? What decides? Our decision trees comes from the soul, is consciousness, free will, our gross senses, right? If everything is aligned, you will be able to make the right choice. Otherwise, the same thing. I'll look at it as, so tasty, tender meat. Or I'll say, oh, wow, so sweet. What is Boga? A sattvic offering. Krishna says what we can offer with gratitude and love. You can't say, hey, Krishna, here, take. Do it with gratitude and love. That becomes Boga. And because he's absolute, he can eat with his eyes. He can smell with his ears. That's the nature of absolute. You and I are not absolute. Our eyes can only see. That becomes Boga. What Boga does is when Krishna accepts it, it becomes his mercy. And that mercy is prasadam. Prasadam literally means mercy. It negates, because the plant, remember I said plant also has life. It negates whatever is the sinful reaction of taking a life form. And what does prasadam, eating prasadam, do? It purifies the gross body and the subtle body. It fortifies our faith and sadhana. And then it clarifies. What does it clarify? Consciousness and our relationship with Krishna. Purifies, fortifies, clarifies. That's what prasadam does. That's it for today's discussion. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhu's, Mataji's, young men and women, if you have any questions, please ask. Don't feel shy, don't feel embarrassed. Hare Krishna. If you can, is there a mic or, please, if you can give Mataji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for wonderful class as usual. Every day we are listening your voice. Thank you for that, your
All
association.
glories to Prabhupada.
Just wanted to share one thing, Prabhuji. I just read Prasad, means Prabhu ka Sakshat Darshan. Yeah, so I like that sentence, wanted to share. And as you know, I'm going to India.
Yes.
So this lecture, your class will really help me to make my relatives at least come to this right path. Like
Yes.
who don't know, right? So just can you give me some inputs? How can I make them like devotee? At least not like completely devotee, but come to this path.
Yes.
So just give me some inputs, Prabhuji.
Become a devotee first. Because it's something like fire. Iron, when it goes into fire for an enough period of time, becomes red hot like the fire itself. So what happens is when we speak, correct? Speaking has some effect. Speaking may impress the mind. But what actually brings about transformation is achar and prachar. So there is prachar, we are speaking. But how our actions, that's what impresses people and that's what changes hearts. So like even with my relatives, my close relatives, my friends, people whom I really love, they refuse to give up meat eating. Doesn't mean I stop loving them. That's the choice they're making. That's the choice they're making, whatever I have. So I go in the mood of sharing knowledge and realization. Typically what happens is there may be a sense of superiority. Oh, you're a meat eater, karmi. I am devotee. I eat only prasadam. That sense of false pride can creep up unknowingly in us. So first thing is we have to be in a very humble attitude. I'm going there to share. I'm not going there to finger pointing over there. And when the person is saying, you just share it as it is, without being judgmental. And people will appreciate it. And if you are saying that, okay, I eat Boga, I offer Boga, I eat Prasadam, I don't eat onion, garlic. My profession, I'm in the sales and business development, which requires, there's this thing called wine and dining. You take the customers out. And as I said over here, 95% meat eaters, and they order steak, rare steak, which is horrific to your senses. This is Krishna's house. But anyway, you know what it is. And it's not just the person who eats meat incurs the sin. The person who slaughters the animal, the person who delivers the animal, the person who cooks. So you could be a vegetarian, but you're cooking and you think I'm absolved of it. No. The person who buys, the person who sells meat, everyone is implicated in that karmic reaction of taking an innocent life. So what to do? It's my job. I asked Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, this is what my situation is. I'm incurring sin. My very salary that I'm earning is incurring sin. So he says, whom are you working for? So I said, I'm working for my family. Again, he asked me, whom are you working for? And I got a little confused. I said, the answer is not right. So I'm trying to think what my answer is. So I said, my family. So he raised his eyebrows and he said, your family? I said, yeah, Maharaj. Now I'm totally confused. So he says, why don't you go with the consciousness that this is Krishna's family? We all think my family, my wife, my child, my country, my religion, my congregation, my, I, me, myself, mine. I'm in the center. But the moment we take I, me, myself out of the center and put Krishna and his devotees in the center, no matter whatever act we do, that becomes an act of devotional service. And in devotional service, it is a karma. There is no karma attached to it. So if I've had with C-level people whom I've gone out and I say I'm a vegetarian and I will go only with salad without the salad dressing. You order the salad and people are saying, why? Now, when someone asks you, you can share it. And then I've had even a couple of people who are meat eaters. They are practicing vegetarian, of course, for health benefit, but at least there's a start somewhere. So with your relatives, Mataji, first thing is go in the mood of humility. Don't force anybody. Don't judge anybody for the choices that we make, they make. Krishna doesn't judge us for the choices. He's given us a free will. Because love can happen only out of free will. Krishna can't force. What can stop him? Krishna. All of you become devotees. But love is out of choice. So similarly, don't force anyone, continue your relationship with them and share your realization then. Wish you all the best.
Prabhuji, can you share those slides? I like those, like Hinduism, Buddhism, so that if I will read and I can explain.
I'll
like
send it to you.
Yeah. You can share on our Nityam Bhagavad Seva. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Okay, it's getting a little late. It's time for prasadam. Okay, one more question. If not, we'll bring. Yeah, Prabhuji. Prabhu, if you can give the mic to Prabhu.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention how important Prasadam is in our movement. And there's a lot of nice stories about Prasadam.
Hold it a little up, Prabhu.
There are a lot of nice stories about Prasadam.
Yeah.
Prasadam is incredible. I remember devotees that just became devotees just by eating the halava.
Yeah.
Things like that, really simple little things. So when we offer prasadam and when we cook it or whatever, we should have that in mind, that prasadam is very potent stuff.
Perfect. It is. I asked Prabhuji when we were sitting over here, I had the opportunity. I got his permission to share his real life. My friend is here. He's a great cook, by the way. Garuda Hari Prabhu. All my friends you'll see are good cooks. So I asked Prabhuji, he's the senior most in our congregation. He's Srila Prabhupada's disciple. He's the brother of our spiritual masters, the God brother. So I asked Prabhuji, when did you join? So he told me 1973 I joined the ISKCON movement. 72. 72.
But I first saw Prabhupada in 73.
72 he joined, but he met Prabhupada in 73. So I said, what was your life before Hare Krishna? And now all these years that you're practicing Hare Krishna, before and after, what is it? So Prabhuji said such a wonderful thing, and it reminded me of Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj. He says, before 1972, I was a black man. After that, I'm a soul. And realizing I'm a soul, I look at other people as soul and I'm able to love them. I'm able to love them. Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj. Thank you. Bhakti Tirth.
Multiple stories said out to Prasadam. Everybody need to know this story.
Please, please.
Very interesting story.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Pranam.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah. On the 23rd of January 2004,
yes,
I fell and had a significant brain injury.
Oh.
I was in a coma for 21 days. And on the 16th day, the doctors came in and told my mom, my wife, my sister, there's no hope for this man. He'll be paralyzed. He won't be able to eat. He won't be able to walk. You would have to feed him, etc. On the 18th day, Mahaprasad was given to me. I gained consciousness that night.
Superb.
They gave up hope on the 16th day. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Now, all these realizations, how does it come? Because they're not on the, of course, there's a body. Prabhu is a male body, middle-aged gentleman, correct? But actually your consciousness is of a spirit soul. So I'll very quickly say that, and then Prabhu, you have a comment, we'll listen to you too, or a question. Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj, when he had joined the movement early days, he used to do a lot of service, and there were other devotees also. And when you're new, you don't have that much of an understanding and realization and consciousness because we all come with a baggage. So he felt that he was being discriminated because of his body color. He was a black man, and many of the devotees were white. So he went and complained to Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, your whole movement is you're not the body, you're the soul. And here I'm being discriminated because of my body. Correct? Black color, I'm being discriminated. So Prabhupada said, they are discriminating you because of their ignorance. They are ignorant. The people who discriminate on basis of body are ignorant. They see black, white, and male, female, and all that thing. Ignorance. He doesn't know that you're the body, you're the soul. You're not the body, you're the soul. And you're feeling bad because you're ignorant, because you think you're a black body. So how do these realizations come? When we start doing these little acts, eating prasadam, that's when we actually slowly start developing. So we have a wonderful spirit soul here. All of us are spirit souls sitting here. Mataji's, Prabhu's, old, young, everyone. How will we know? Start, make small baby steps. Dhire, dhire, it happens. Prabhuji, what is your question or comment?
I want to share a little bit of
Yes.
A story I heard from South Indian-based Vaishnava philosopher. He's born Christian, named as Dr. Joseph Iyengar, very well renowned in the Vaishnava circles down south. And one of the stories he shared online, was there were a few devotees from Puri, Pandas, and other Vaishnavas who had gone to visit Shankaracharya. And after Shankaracharya had a habit of giving candy or sugar crystals to those devotees. And when he gave it to them, a lot of them threw it away on the ground. So the devotees of Shankaracharya got very upset that he disrespected it. But Shankaracharya said, no problem. Don't worry, I understand why they do. They are Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They do not eat sugar. So he gave them a little piece of good. So today we have a knowledge that a lot of refined foods, refined sugar, which is not good. So after I heard that story, I stopped consuming refined sugar.
Very nice.
So I thank you very much for this program. I have very nice, insightful. So if you could continue the same as in vegetarianism, Vaishnava vegetarianism, different types of sattvic diet for our congregation, it will be very insightful, because today there are a lot of other vegetarian options.
Sure.
You have Impossible, Beyond, and all these are claiming to be vegetarian. So a lot of people are going for that processed soy. So, Shastra in sattvic diet, all kinds of processed food, even if it is vegetarian, though it's coming from a sugar cane, sugar was banned long time ago. So you can go to Odisha, Jagannath, they will not find sugar in any of the food there. So we do use sugar in all our kitchens here too. Dal has sugar and everything else. So this is something I've been wanting to talk to somebody, and I had this opportunity that you have expounded to us.
Prabhu.
So if you can continue more of these series on a weekly, monthly basis, we'll be very, very...
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, we do these little programs, and even on the Zoom and different places. Today, vegetarianism has become a fad because of yoga, and and more for health reasons, which is fine. It is one step forward. But then from vegetarian, we call something, what is it called? Krishnatarian. And that's the whole thing. But and there are nice books also available. So there is a very nice chef called His Grace Kormadas. Kormadas. And it's fantastic. Come to our Govinda. We have a Govinda on the other side, restaurant. There is something called Ekadashi Pizza. No, don't laugh. I'm guaranteeing you, it will be the best pizza you have. And it's Ekadashi, not made from wheat, grains, beans, nothing. Ekadashi Pizza. So, the inventiveness, the creativity, they make Chinese in this temple. Chinese, the main ingredient is garlic. And believe me, if you have the Chinese, I'm not trying to promote Govinda or anything. That's fine. If you take it, you don't take it. But the options and choices available is fantastic. Incredible, more than what you would get. That Impossible burger, it is impossible it will match up, at least in my. So we'll do this, Prabhu. You have any suggestions? And please come again and again. We're very happy to have you. We're very happy to have everybody who comes here. Thank you so much for your participation. We'll bring it to a close and we'll have prasadam. Mahaprasade Govinde. Play the music. Huh? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I just jumped ahead. My dear friend here is making. Sorry. Ready to go for prasadam.
Thank you, Amritanand Prabhu.